Hello, beloved community of faith. On this 13th week of us as a church community being safer at home, we know that businesses and some churches are opening up, but we wanted to continue to keep our church community and our church family safe as we continue to figure out what it means to be a real safe sanctuary for our membership. And so on this 87th day, many of us still staying at home, and we're still trying to figure out what is happening in this world. As our numbers have climbed with coronavirus, we also know that our world is still trying to understand what all these protests that are happening in our country are about. And we notice that they're happening all around the world. Today we want to do something a little bit different for our midweek message. This is a quick social action lesson, which also includes a little faith perspective in how we can be a part of healing our nation. I want to start here. I want to let you all know that I do respect law enforcement because many of my friends are first responders. Today I want to share some trigger words and phrases that have been a bit difficult for our communities to understand. The first phrase that I'm going to use is community policing. It's a deep, trusting relationship and education for our youth, which could be successful if we all choose to participate. I read a succinct description of community policing today, and I want to share it with you all. Community policing is a philosophy of full-service, personalized policing, where the same officer patrols and works in the same area on a permanent basis, from a decentralized place, working in a proactive partnership with citizens to identify and solve problems. So using this philosophy to address racism and develop a culture of trust between law enforcement and the communities they serve and protect, that could be a first step towards healing our country. Now, there's another phrase that we've been hearing a lot is the call to defund the police. That phrase is provocative. It's purposely provocative and has hit a nerve in many people across our country. That word and phrase is supposed to. It's supposed to be intentionally antagonistic. It's to elicit a response or an emotion. It's a necessary conversation because of this. And we need to have this because public trust has deteriorated in densely populated cities. This systemic racism does not solely rest on law enforcement, though. It is ingrained in society and exists in all of our institutions. The U.S. has the highest incarceration rate in the world, and the vast majority of which are Black, African Americans. So do you think this is by choice? That only personal choices are responsible for these statistics? If you look at statistics from 2010 and 2020, they're the same. The status quo is not working. More work needs to be done. And listening to the affected communities and realizing that addressing systemic issues is required for a long-term solution. Imagine now a community where safety is the norm, where crime is rare, where all students graduate, where racism does not exist. Perhaps we're hoping for utopia. But even if we're not, we hope for a thriving society. And then there's the phrase, no lives matter unless Black lives matter. Last week, I did make an error in my own speaking off the cuff. I meant to use that phrase, but I did say no lives matter unless all lives matter, which is true. But in this situation, when we refer to Black Lives Matters, we're just referring to the minimum of what we're asking society and humanity to lift up. And until we treat Black lives and brown lives and all those discriminated against in the same way in our government, in society, and recognizing that in our own homes and the inherent prejudices and biases that we have in ourselves, then the struggle for justice and equity will continue. Just like in the United Methodist Church, our divide is about being welcoming to all, particularly the LGBTQIA community, because they are a specific group in our own book of discipline, in our own church laws, that has not been created or treated equally or equitably or fairly in our United Methodist system. That is the only group that is excluded from marriage and from being ordained. I see these two as parallels in the struggle for justice. And as we are to respond as people of faith, this means that we need to respond in the ways that we believe that Jesus would have. His very existence and being was a protest and a threat to the status quo and to the government in which he was living. Lift up your voices was Jesus' cry. This is something for us to think about. And in our own community, we're celebrating the graduation of many of our seniors, but also the promotions of our young people in our midst, from whether it's kindergarten promotions or fifth grade promotions or eighth grade promotions, and even college graduates. These young people in our midst are living in this world and are watching. So this special service is dedicated to you young people this Sunday. And a very special commencement speaker is coming at our 10:30 a.m. worship service. So please tune in. You won't want to miss it. And also for the rest of you, you're invited to join in all of our services. We also have traditional service at 8:30, a coffee hour at noon, and then there's a special surprise parade this Sunday at 1:45. So come meet us at Gunzer Park at 1:45 on Sunday. We hope that you are continuing to be well, to stay healthy, to take care of one another, and to connect with each other. And in all these things, be safe and have a blessed day.